Hi, I'm Laura Geis, author of the Homeschool Toolkit and founder of homeschooladviceonline.com. Welcome to Homeschool Advice with Laura Geis. In honor of Valentine's Day this week, I thought we'd name this episode Hopelessly Devoted to Him, because the question goes a little like this. Help! I'm so busy with my kids that I don't have time for my husband. This is a common problem with homeschoolers and just wives in general. I know when my kids were young, I had problems balancing, taking care of the husband and taking care of the kids, and husband seems to be put on the back burner sometimes because kid issues just seem more urgent sometimes. They need you to wipe their bottoms, change their diapers, get them a snack, and husbands don't whine and complain like kids do. So it's very easy to focus on those kids and neglect husband a little bit. So this week in honor of Valentine's Day, let's talk about some ways that you can make your husband a priority. I call this the 4 B's of blessing your betrothed. The first B is be interested. When your husband comes in from work, ask him about his day and really listen as he tells you about it. Or if he has a hobby, I have a friend who her husband loves Civil War memorabilia, and so if she spent some time talking with him about that, he would think that was really special. Or ask his opinion about something. I had a friend once, her husband sadly left her, and one of the reasons he said was, it didn't seem like you ever needed me for anything. You took care of everything yourself. You took care of the kids and their schedules and made all the decisions. So sometimes it's a good idea to ask our husband's opinions about the decisions we're making. B number 2 is be interesting. Now it's very tempting when your husband gets home from work to want to unload all the things that have happened to you throughout the day. Maybe your daughter gave herself a haircut, or your son crayoned all over your walls, and those are the things you're wanting to tell somebody about. But every once in a while when your husband comes home and he says, "How was your day, honey?" instead of feeding him all the complaints and the mishaps of the day, share with him some of the highlights of the day, some of the good things that happened. It gets very old to hear people complaining all the time, and I'm sure you know that if you've ever been around someone who complains all the time. After a while, you just tune them out. So find something interesting to talk about with your husband. And also, when it's time for him to come home from work or wherever he is, try to make yourself look presentable when he gets home. I know that can be very difficult with babies. You have the spit up on your shoulders and you haven't had time to comb your hair, but if you can, take a few minutes, just comb through your hair, put on something a little nicer than sweatpants and an old sweatshirt, and look nice for your husband sometimes. Another way you can be interesting is to talk about things other than the kids. Think back to when you were dating. What were some of the things you like to talk about and share with each other? And talk about some of those things again. Of course there are going to be times when the kids take priority and you're going to need to talk about those issues, but every once in a while spend some time just on the two of you and the things that matter to you. Now the third B is be willing. And because this is a G-rated program, I'm not going to go into detail here, but I think you know what I mean. The fourth B is be there. By this I mean be available for your husband. Let him know that you want to spend time alone with him. Now this doesn't have to cost a lot of money or take a lot of time or a huge amount of effort. Sometimes all it takes is a little creative thinking. For instance, could you put the kids to bed early one evening and have dinner alone with your husband? Or maybe if you want to have an overnight getaway, invite the grandparents over for a night. And my husband and I like to go to a state park in the winter time. The rates are really good in the winter, so it doesn't cost us a lot of money. We're only away one night. We're still close by the house if there is an emergency, yet we get to go away and spend some time connecting with each other again. If you need a babysitter, I found a great way to get a good babysitter is to find a young girl at your church who is wanting to get into the babysitting field. I found the best age to be between maybe 10 and 12 years old, where the girls are responsible, yet they're still young enough that they like to play with your kids and play games and read them stories. They're not so interested in talking on the phone the whole time that they're at your house. So I found that to be a perfect age, although, older girls work out great too. But these girls, they want to get that babysitting experience, so they're willing to come over. They might even work for a little less money than a more experienced babysitter. And I kind of start them out by letting them come over for a couple of hours, maybe 1 or 2 afternoons a week. And I don't even go anywhere. I just let them play with the kids and take care of the kids while I start dinner or exercise or whatever it is I'm wanting to do. And then as my kids get comfortable with the sitter and the sitter gets comfortable with my kids, then I'm more comfortable. My husband and I could go out for dinner, or we might even go to the grocery store. Just something to get away from the house and the kids for a little while. But I found that that's a really great way to find a babysitter, and you're helping them get their foot in the door with babysitting, and they're helping you spend some time alone with your husband. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. So just remember to take some time every week to do something with just your husband. Make him feel special. So you're going to be interested, be interesting, be willing, and be there. And you will be putting your husband first. I hope these tips help you stay hopelessly devoted to your husband. For more time management tips, stay tuned for more episodes of Homeschool Advice with Laura Geis, or read my book, The Homeschool Toolkit. It's available at www.homeschooladviceonline.com. This week we've talked about how to make our husbands a priority. Next week we're going to talk about how to find time for ourselves. I hope you'll join me.